First, there was this, the dulcitone, a tuning fork piano made by Thomas Matchell and Sons in Glasgow, Scotland. It inspired these, made by Rhodes, bought by Fender, who found the pianos somewhat shrill, but thought there was a real future in these. The Fender keyboard bass, made famous by Ray Manzarek from The Doors and little others. Then there was this, the ultra-rare Fender Rhodes Celeste, which didn't really catch on at all. And there is this again. She's back, baby. Meet Dave. The Rhodes Mk8. They've been through so many incarnations, owned by Fender Rhodes for some time, and then bought by CBS, I believe, and then bought by the Roland Corporation, or is that when it, after or before it was sold back to Rhodes and then he died? But anyway, this is an all-new venture. What I admire, just getting out of the box, is this sheer attention to brilliance. The form factor designed by, I believe, is it Axel Hartmann? Electronics by someone who formerly worked at Moog. Everything about it just reeks of passion, of love. So I thought I'd give you my first impressions. I own a Wurlitzer. I've got a Fender Rhodes bass. I've got a Fender Rhodes Celeste. And I've used many Rhodeses. And it's just really weird to experience what a Rhodes would have been like back in the day, brand new. Because the Mk8 is not based on the Mark 7 or the Mark 6. It's based on the Mark 1. Back to the original concept behind it, an electric tine piano. So I thought first maybe an overview and then a little play with it and then some thoughts. So the side, we've got power, we've got 2 unbalanced outs for stereo, and then balanced outs as XLR. There's a send and a return. You can use it in stereo or in mono, and there is an advantage to picking how you're going to use it in that respect, which I'll come back to. So we've got our preamp, which is the volume here. It's just so weird to have a Rhodes that doesn't have a scratchy pot. I'll return to the envelope in a minute. We've got drive in the preamp. That's interesting. So you're actually switching it on there. Now, I'm not sure, please do let me know in the comments down below, if the preamp is when we pass into the digital domain. I think I read somewhere that the effects in the preamp are digital, but I don't know if it's preamp then into the kind of equalizer and varipan. But it's certainly very tasty sounding and built to suit a Rhodes. What I love is playing really quietly with it really overdriven. Let's take it all the way. It's interesting. I like it just breaking up slightly. I wonder if we take a bit of top end off. Great stuff. So I'm going to take the drive off and let's investigate the equalizer. So we've got low. to me feels very much calibrated for modern tastes. It's bassier than I remember equalizers on other Fenders being. I'll skip along to the high, so you really get the sound of the tines there. It really does just affect that top end, so it doesn't bring out the fundamentals more up in this region. It's just that little belly kind of... And I guess with the... Now, with the mid, you've got your frequency here, and then your gain. It's interesting with the gain because the Q feels actually relatively narrow on that. I don't remember Fenders ever being able to do that kind of sweep. But what's especially fun about it is if you then use this envelope. It becomes an auto wah. I actually got asked in a spotting session if I could make the music sound sticky, and maybe I can use it on this. Just try and get it really subtle. So you can kind of use it almost so it only triggers when you hit it hard. Now, onto a thing of beauty. I love the way that these effects have been curated on, to me, what it feels like is a use basis, in the sense of knowing the spirit of the Mark I, but knowing how it's been used over the last, 40 odd years, maybe more, 40, 45 years. So let's switch on the vary pan. The outer ring is rate, which, again, a modern interpretation, it goes to audio, kind of FM speed. In fact, I would say that would probably be where the old Rhodes tremolo, and certainly my Wurlitzer, that would be about the maximum. And then you can just... And then the inner ring is depth. I'm panned hard left and right, so you could bring that in to make it less extreme. But also this is when it's handy to think about whether you want to use it in mono, because what will happen then is that you will get, I think, just a tremolo effect. So you can hear I'm doubling the oscillations by putting the other one back in. And I'm just going to investigate this FM speed. And then the depth almost becomes like an effects mix, isn't it? And let's try just a little tiny break up, but using the pan to kind of make it break up. But there are different shapes. So we've got this kind of square wave. And then we've got triangle. Okay, I'm rabbit holing at the moment. Sine as we had before, or that's a triangle, or so it's a sort of, I've forgotten the names, and this is more siney. Just absolutely stunning. Now, I couldn't work out what these were for. They seem to just disable this, and I couldn't figure it out. And what it is, there's actually more dangleberries on this side, which I was very surprised with. There's MIDI, there's USB, which I presume is just for firmware updates. As I mentioned, there's definitely some digital stuff going on here. And then there's these two controllers, and I suspect what you can do is by doing that is you can control various bits like volume or frequency or both with the first controller, pan rate or pan depth or both with the controllers. I don't have an expression controller, but that's certainly something I'd like to experiment with. I was wondering, is there such a thing as a MIDI expression controller? So something that converts MIDI data, i.e. automation data, into expression voltage or whatever the pedal does? Because I think that there's a really interesting opportunity here to be able to automate but bang on time with MIDI. These incredible things that you can do with the Varipan and the the FM thing and the Equalizer and all of that stuff. I think that could be very, very interesting. I'm really already blown away and surprised by how far away from it just being a standard Rhodes you can take it just in this little kind of twiggly bobs that I'm doing now. As for the feel, it's very interesting. You can actually see through to the floor, so it's got an open bottom down here. Apparently lighter than previous Rhodes, but it feels bloody heavy to me. Comes with its own beautifully made stand. The feel, to me, it doesn't feel like Rhodes feels. It's wonderful and beautiful, and the way that they've kind of attenuated that timbral shift through quiet to the slightly bitier sound of a Rhodes is absolutely brilliant. It's incredibly smooth. It doesn't have that sudden crossover that a Wurlitzer has. But the keyboard does feel very rigid. But I would argue, if you're comparing it to other Rhodeses, you're comparing it to Rhodeses that are going to be 20, 30 years old. And as we all know, things tend to get a bit soft and spongy the older you get. So, I don't know, this is maybe what Rhodeses felt like, the Mark I, when it was released all those years ago. It's certainly, I love the feel. And again, it's just the quality of the plastic and the way that it's all being finished off is absolutely beautiful. You can customize it. I think there's more expensive versions with more effects and stuff, and they've got kind of gold-plated limited editions. It's not cheap, but it'll be a lifetime of use. It's something that, as I say, is a rite of passage. But also, what I have been experiencing with Outboard of late is they are actually quite effective investment vehicles. I know it sounds ridiculous, but these keyboards behind me are now 10x what I bought them for 10 years ago. So not only do you get to enjoy them, but they also do tend to appreciate in value. I think that this is just absolutely stunning. So yes, you can customize the color. There's even more things you can add to it. I thought this was going to be slightly more kind of British racing green, and it's more Miami mint. But what's really exciting about it, I don't know if I can pick it up, I'll get the camera down there, is the sustain pedal is matching, which is just totally unnecessary, but brilliant. Also, to let you know, there's headphones at the front, so you can practice in the quietness of your own headphones. I'd say if there was one disappointment, it's this knob here is just a little bit doesn't feel quite as salubrious as the rest of them, but it is a thing of beauty. And what I admire about what they have done is I can feel the duende, the inner goblin. There's a playfulness to it. The fact that you can take the VariPan up to audio rate, the fact that you can program in an auto wah, that it's got its own internal drive. It has this cheekiness, which I love, but it's a loving cheekiness. It's the spirit of the goblin embraced in keyboard form. And it doesn't need to be as brilliant as this, but it is. I bought this one. This is not a sponsored kind of fluff piece, but just thank you, Rhodes, for bothering and then doing this, because you didn't have to, and it's bloody brilliant. Thanks for watching till the end. Just want to thank you all really for the massive amount of support that I've received over the last few weeks. It's been really, really horrible, and I'm sure there'll be some updates coming soon and stuff. But if you are a parent and you're worried, all I can say is social media is not the place to discuss this stuff. That was a mistake on my part. There are people who can offer advice and help, and there are kind people that you can talk to and air your concerns with. So reach out to me. I'll put my social media down below. And one thing that's useful about social media is it's an opportunity, and I've met up with so many people via DMs. So I've been doing quite a lot of retail therapy. I've got some real goodies coming up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Ding that bell if you want to be notified the next time I put a video up. I went and spent 4 days in Air Studios doing some incredible experiments that I want to share with you, and also had a really moving and touching day that's going to make a lovely video for you to watch. So do ding that bell. And one of those for these guys. You've brought back a piece of heritage that is so important to us. You've brought it to life, and I doff my cap to you.